What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Reactor Radio. I am your host, DemonkillerScorp, with the second host, Anthony Knight. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Doing good. And today we have the most epic, very special guest on the Reactor Radio show, the one and only red dreaded one, Akasan. What's going on, man?
What up, everybody, and what's up, radio? Reactor Radio here. We got the Knight versus the Demon versus the red one. I like it a lot.
Yes. Show's gonna be completely uncut, and we can't cuss due to certain policies, but that's okay.
I like it raw, so it's all good.
All right, so Akasan, I'm going to start off with the same question we ask every reactor who comes on Reactor Radio. You joined YouTube, or your channel says, April 21st, 2006. Was there any other previous channels, and what created Akasan?
Good question. No, this was actually I have other channels that I have created for other purposes, but this channel was my first and default original channel that I just kind of used. And I was only using this channel back 10 years ago as a sort of storage space because I got kicked off of Facebook.
Oh, wow.
And I got kicked off of Facebook because you couldn't upload videos or any sort of stuff you wanted on Facebook. So I couldn't upload videos on Facebook anymore. So I just started using YouTube only as a reason to store my videos and my daily vlogging or whatever. And then I would link it into my Facebook account. But I didn't really know how public YouTube and how big YouTube was at the time. And other people started seeing my stuff. And years later, way years later, I started doing, what did I do? I was just doing a parody video of the shit that Japanese people say to foreigners, and that one went very viral, and I got a bunch of subs off of that one, and that was kind of my beginning. That was my starting there. Then many years later, I ended up doing a reaction for a friend to Thor 2 Dark World trailer or something like that, and I was just playing around with that one, but I realized that people were really starting to like my reaction to certain things, and they wanted to see more to different movies and such. So to say what started Akasan, it wasn't even YouTube. It was something a private life and such. And when I was in Japan, my name is kind of hard to pronounce in English and such, in Japanese, and so they wanted a nickname. Something that people would call me, and people in the States used to call me Red Man Walking, like just Red Man, basically. Red Man and Red Man Walking. It was kind of a parody off of WWE, The Undertaker, Dead Man Walking. And so I just told them that people called me Red Man in the States, and I was like, well, what's red in Japanese? And they were like, Aka. So I was like, you mean like, so I would be something like Akasan? And everybody's like, oh, sugei, like they liked it. And so from that point on, I guess right around 2003, I guess 2003, that was the beginning of Akasan, the name anyways.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah, hey, that was
yeah, that's crazy. So Aka in Japan means red?
Aka.
Hello?
Wait, did you freeze a little bit?
Son would be Mr. Red, basically.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm just curious, why back then you said you were kicked off of Facebook. Was there a time that Facebook didn't allow videos or something?
I was uploading copyrighted material and such, so I was just straight uploading videos of Japanese music or something like that, and Facebook was like, "Yo, you got blocked by this Japanese company, so you're not allowed to upload videos anymore."
Wow.
Damn, I didn't even know Facebook got down like that.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
way back in the day. And, that's why the copyright law is so important, and we have to make sure we follow it. Not as exactly to the T, but at least making sure that all parties are satisfied.
Yeah, you really got to be careful, especially now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you got some questions, so unleash them, bruh.
Well, I've always been curious. What made you decide to study and learn Japanese?
I think it just happened to be the fact that my best friend, who actually now lives in Fukuoka, but he is American, he's Japanese American. He just happened to be in that world, his father worked at a Japanese American sort of consulate type of exchange type of area. So I used to go help him out every once in a while, and I just really sort of appreciated a lot of the Japanese culture and the way that Japanese people came out to Los Angeles to really try to find the dream and make something of themselves. And one of my good friends actually came out about 10 years ago, and he was like, "Yo, yeah, I can barely speak English, but I'm going to learn these computers. I'm going to do these special effects." And now he's one of the guys responsible for doing the graphics in Iron Man, Transformers,
Oh, wow.
a lot of other big stuff. So I just always kind of had a respect for the grind that a lot of my original friends in Los Angeles came out to do, and just further so on and forth. I just really started to get interested in the culture, and of course there's also the huge influence of anime. That's always kind of like the gateway drug to the Japanese culture.
Yes, it is.
So a little bit of all of that, and now I live here, so it's all good.
Hey.
Okay.
All right.
So
go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's okay. When you moved to Japan, you moved by yourself? Like you just up and left and went out on your own?
Yeah, that was basically it. I just decided that, what was it? I was when I was in my college at the time, I was transferring over, and they had an option to transfer over to an international school in Tokyo. And I thought that'd be a good idea because I was also running a business that had a lot to do with tour.
Did we lose him?
And I was going to school. I was going to night school so that I could run my business during the day. But then every 2 or 3 times a year, I had to stop in the middle of my classes and go to Japan and show people around Japan and take care of them. But it really messed up my grades a lot. So I figured I can't do this sort of thing anymore. And I realized it might be better to actually continue to take my classes in Japan on a study abroad type of program. And so that's what I basically ended up doing. I felt that at the time it was too much of a recession, and banks were folding and all this other stuff. The economy was terrible in America at that time. So I figured now would be the best time. If I was ever going to leave the country for a few years, now would be the best time. And so that's essentially what I did. Was I enrolled in an international school, and I tried to continue my business afloat, but then we got hit with the huge earthquake about 5 years ago, and that did not happen.
Oh yeah. Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, because it must have, like, from LA to Japan must have been like a really huge move, man.
It's maybe it might have been harder for me had I not been doing I was in the Japanese tourism business for quite some time. So I used to take a lot of friends. I used to take a lot of friends to, or I should say a lot of customers to Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, Hokkaido, all these areas. And so I was going to Japan like 4 or 5 times a year anyways before I even made the move. So the transition to moving in wasn't as hard as I would say for other people. I was already sort of adjusted with what was going on. So it wasn't so bad, but it did get harder after the earthquake, and it made me question some of my life choices sometimes. So
that is so interesting.
I do want to say right now, Akasan, now that we have you on the show, first off, congratulations for finally reaching your 100,000 goal, man. I know that was a very huge push for you, and I know that was, I just wanted to congratulate you for that.
I appreciate that. You know, it was all about the Red Dread Nation. They needed. There's a book, or one of my advisors, or like one of my people like that counsel me sometimes on running the channel. Like somebody told me that your subscribers, even if you don't really have a goal, your subscribers sometimes need a goal. They need something to get behind, like kind of like the Avengers. They needed the push, so to speak. And at that time, I wanted to be able to do like a meet and greet at the YouTube space in Los Angeles. And in order to do that, to establish that, you needed the 100,000 subscriber mark. So that was really the only reason I was pushing for that sort of level push. I have another one in mind, and I'm thinking about it right now, because I do like it's not really about the number for me, it's more about what that number does for my own community on my channel. It's the fact that we all have like a single goal, a single focus that we all get behind.
Well, as far as you reaching that goal and be able to do that meet and greet, I'm glad you were able to, man, because I had the honor of meeting you in person, and that was really dope.
Absolutely, pleasure to meet you as well, man.
Yeah, that was really dope to be able to talk to you, and I just wanted to say, like, right now, like, you're definitely one of the ones that influenced me to do what I do. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure you're one of the ones that influenced all of us to do what we do.
I have heard that before, yes.
But yeah, man, being able to talk to you in person, you're really, really, really chill, cool dude, and I'm glad that I had that honor, man. And I guess what I met other YouTubers there too, other reactors that because there's a lot of reactors out there that I don't even know exist. Right. And that's not me trying to throw shade. I'm just saying, like, so many of them I can't keep up with. Right. But yeah, I had the honor of meeting other reactors that were there too, so that was pretty cool.
And well, that was the interesting thing about that meet and greet, because somebody straight asked me in one of these conference YouTube meetings that I have sometimes. Secret YouTube meetings, because none of these people are reactors, so I really like talking to them because it gives me a good opinion. I think you always need to broaden your horizons and kind of look at it. Make sure you talk to people that are looking at it from the outside. But one of these guys asked me about the meet and greet. He was like, "Well, so what? I don't understand." He was like, "No offense, but were all the questions like asking you what was it like to look at a TV box?" And I thought that was kind of funny, because like I get what he's saying. Like, why would you really have fans as a reactor? But the funniest thing here, and Demon, you can attest to it, is
whoa! I think we lost him temporarily. Right at a good part too.
For real.
Really?
It went out temporarily. It's doing that every once in a while. It's not too bad though. I want to make it clear. Like,
but it's still It's recording right now.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay, so what part?
I can attest to you.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right. Oh yeah, and Demon, you can attest to this. One of the main questions, or there were two things that the majority of what was being asked in this meet and greet was one, about my Japan life, about personality, about staying confident, how to get into YouTube. Yeah, it was like there was little to nothing to do about reacting. I actually had to explain to most of the people at the meet and greet who Tyrone Magnus was. And then the second question was,
I know. I thought that was pretty funny, man. Like, how do you not know who Tyrone is? Come on,
but see, that's the thing, and some people don't realize this is that at least for my channel, I bring in a sort of different type of audience, I think, because they kind of tune in more or less for the content that I'm looking at, and they tune in more or less for my opinion about things, which is why a lot of people kind of came to me and they were like, hey, you know what? I didn't like Batman v Superman either. Like that was half the other part of the meet and greet. It was like, yeah, I agree with you. I didn't like that movie.
I should have told you this at the meet and greet, Akasan. I think they could have done a better job with Batman v Superman too.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, now we're kind of looking past it, and we see what they're doing now with the Justice League, trying to make improvements, and hopefully this time around it'll be better. I want to one day believe in the DCEU, but I'm not such a DC fanatic that I'm just going to slurp down anything that they give to us. So
I feel you there. I do feel you there. And I'm not much. I'm more of a Marvel, gang rider than I am a DC. But I did see Suicide Squad last night.
Yeah, did you like it?
I actually liked it.
I liked it too.
It was
better than Batman v Superman. That's what everybody attests to.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I will say this though, Harley Quinn with her savagery is hot. I just want to point that out right now. Her savagery is so hot. But what I want to ask you is, because I know you saw Suicide Squad. From what I hear, you saw Suicide Squad here in LA.
I saw it 2 times in LA, 1 time in Japan.
Okay, so what did you think? What did you think of the movie and the storyline overall?
I thought the storyline was a little simple. It looked like everything was filmed in a Universal City backlot or something like that. They were just kind of
felt that way too.
They were kind of going from just scene to scene, and not really. There wasn't much of a story to be fleshed out. But I think overall, considering, and this was something that Adam Havoc told me a while back. Is considering the fact that they only had 6 weeks to write the script, and that's a very, very short time to kind of.
They only had 6 weeks? I didn't even know that.
Wow.
Yeah. So considering how fast they pumped out this movie, I'm very. I think we're very fortunate that we still got something halfway decent. And I hate to keep on dogging this movie, but let's take it. Let's look at it the other way. If you want to compare it to something, Batman v Superman, they had a long time to prepare this one. They even delayed that movie by 9 months because they wanted to fully realize the vision of this movie and open up the DCEU. So they even delayed it for almost a year. And when you compare these two, one that took 6 weeks to write, the other one that was delayed.
Suicide Squad really came through compared to Batman v Superman.
Yeah. So, when I consider things like that, like I said in my review of Batman v Superman or one of my rants, I'm not sure. If Batman v Superman had come out on its original date when it was sort of rushed to come out and such, I would have been a little more forgiving about most things, because I would have been like, you know what? They rushed this movie. It's all good. But the fact that they delayed it by an additional 8 to 9 months and was hyping it like no tomorrow, like it was going to be this ungodly movie, that's when I think it's fair game to kind of take shots at it, because you hype it up to the point where, everybody was expecting something amazing and you got like that. So
Yeah, I mean that does happen sometimes in Hollywood. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of good development in progress, and the scripts ain't always there. But hopefully they'll get better over the years, man.
I certainly hope so if they can survive that long. Yeah.
All right. Before I segue in to the next segment, Anthony, is there anything that you might want to say or ask?
I am curious to know, what is your most anticipated Marvel movie coming out?
My most anticipated of Marvel movies, I would have to say probably Avengers: Infinity War, because that's the next.
I don't know how true. Speaking of Infinity War, just real quick, I don't know how true this is. I'm having my doubts, but I'm also hoping that this does happen. I don't know if you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Akasan. I don't know if you watch that show.
I haven't watched the new season yet, but yeah, I do watch. I've watched the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, I haven't seen because the way I watch my TV shows is I wait for them to come to Netflix.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to wait for a whole week and.
I don't want to wait for your life. Sorry.
No, but I was hearing rumors that Chloe Bennett might make an appearance in Infinity War, and I'm really hoping that comes through, because I think that would be really dope if she made some type of cameo in Infinity War. What do you think?
I certainly hope that they do bring in everybody, because I do think that it's a wasted opportunity to have so many developed characters on TV and not introduce them in some form or fashion in the movie.
Right?
Especially for Infinity War. Civil War, I can kind of understand and give it a pass, but for what they're doing with Infinity War, it should be, or at least feel, infinite. So.
Yeah, they should incorporate all the characters. I agree with you on that. Okay, so let's segue to something I really want to talk about here.
Okay.
All right, Akasan, time for you to really become uncut here. I'm Dante's rant, whatever you call it, roast.
Roast, / rant, right?
All right, Akasan, I am dying to know, what are your thoughts on what he has to say?
Well, what part? Because because
this is a 20-minute. This is almost like a 20-minute video, and it doesn't even seem like a roast, to be honest. Right. It sounds like he's just trying to diss you in some type of shape or form, So
fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
And I did see. I don't remember what video it was of yours, but I remember you saying that some points that you found that some of his points were kind of on point.
Yeah. Yes.
Can you explain some of the details on what you meant by that?
Sure. I did make a 50-minute explanation video, going into detail, but I noticed, I knew even when I made it that the majority of people weren't going to watch it. And 50 minutes, fucking too long, man. But anyways, so that's why in the first 2-3 minutes, I just gave the abridged version, but and I even wrote it out. I typed it out in the description and left a comment for people that didn't want to sit through all of it, but whatever. It is, when you get that kind of audience coming into your channel, it is what it is.
Very, very true.
So, that's why, a lot of people, people that will come to the meet and greet, my meet and greets and such, they're a different type of audience, and I think they're the people that will love to sit through some of my long rants. And just in regards to this, the roast side. The roast side of I'm Dante's thing, I thought it was funny. I thought a lot of that was taken out of context, but it was still funny enough. For example, that intro, bringing in my intro and then showing that clip from the Dragon Ball Z abridged. I still thought that was really funny, and even the rant part, some of it was pretty damn funny, showing the priest and my dab, because I knew that was going to come sooner or later. But
yeah, I mean, he was. Sorry, go ahead. No, I was going to say I mean, Dante was going to get you on that dab regardless. And I found it funny that that Greg Alba, he was like, "What's a dab?" I was laughing so hard at that.
Well, but he's right, because in LA, dabbing is when you're, it's a drug use type of deal. So he was like, I even thought that was funnier because nobody in LA really knows or does the dabbing thing. At least the people in my circle, or at least when I was out there, I just only saw a few kids doing it when I was getting my hair done, and I was like, oh, okay, so I'm assuming that's dabbing. So then I tried to do it for the first time on screen with the real rejects watching and such. So have to clear my throat like a grown man. But yeah, but to answer your question, I think, I think influences sometimes get to I'm Dante a little bit, and like the people that he tends to really hang out with and really respect and support, it tends to kind of get on him. And I think at times he's a very emotional person that will sometimes feel that he's doing the right thing, but at the same time, I also feel bad because it's also sort of people start looking at him in a very different light. I mean, I was really thinking about this the last couple of days or the last couple of weeks, ever since the rant part of this dropped. And if you really go back to a lot of some of those roasts, you kind of see like, and I never really picked up on this until actually I noticed even some of my subscribers, they actually picked up on it. And I wasn't actually going to respond to any more roasts because I was getting a few complaints from my subscribers saying like, why are you like sitting here and like taking these, like, these are just shots being hidden under a roast, basically. Like he's really like going into you on some of the stuff, and that was during the roast of Rashad or so. And I took it in stride. Even that time, I even responded and played along with the whole Batman intro type of deal, because I still support what I'm Dante does in his form of comedy and such, and I want to see him do well. But when I really started looking at it, I'm like, okay, like it's really weird. The dude that I talk to, and then the dude that is up here making videos is almost very, very different. And like I sort of said in my explanation, I just talked to this dude like a week before he dropped that roast rant. I talked to that dude personally over Twitter about something, and there was like no indication that he was planning something or he was upset about something, or that he didn't like the way that I was throwing shade at Blasphemous or Jinx or something like that. So I kind of, and it's weird because I'll be the first one to say something directly privately to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like if I really,
like PM or something.
Yeah, I mean, if like somebody said something about Tyrone, or somebody said something about my girl or something like that, I'm not gonna make a goddamn video.
Yeah, because I noticed that like with the whole Grade A and Tyrone thing, like when that happened, you actually, from what I understand, you messaged Grade A personally, privately.
Yeah, that's all it was. Like, because I'll tell you the story, and I think I've said it in my video regarding those two, but I got an email early on. From Tyrone, like when I woke up in the morning, and this is how it always works for me because of the time difference. I always get stuff a little too late. For example, one time I had a beef with Cooley, one time because he didn't like something I said in one of my videos, Cooley. And then he messaged me privately, directly, as he should. And we talked about it, but I was sleeping at that time. And so then he went off and he made a video about it. And then when I woke up, I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And then we talked it out. We talked about it, and we understood each other's opinion. And then he took his video down or whatever. So we hashed it out, and it was done. It was a done deal. With grade A under A, I got a message from Tyrone. Tyrone was like, yo, what's up with grade A? Why is he mad at me or something like that? And I was like, I don't know. Let me go find out. And then I saw the video that Tyrone made. I'm like, uh-oh. And then I was waiting for grade A's response.
So wait, he made, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I just want to get clarity. So he made a video before you could ever respond back to him?
The Tyrone? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
so
damn.
I got an email from Tyrone about what's grade A's problem or whatever. And I'm not really sure about the timing if he had already made a video because I think I woke up. I got an email from him, and I think a few hours later he made that video. Grade A has a problem with me like that. And then I was like, what the hell is he talking about? And then I tracked down what grade A was saying on Twitter, and then I emailed grade A. I'm like, dude, so I just want to know, like, what's going on? Maybe I can help. You don't need to drop a video like this. And grade A came back to me. He responded, and he and I think have a respected communication at least because that was always the thing. Like when he first dropped that first video about why reaction channels are shit, I emailed him directly, and maybe it's because we both used to be teachers or something like that. We have, he's always been very polite and respectable with me. And in this case was no different. He just really was explaining, grade A was explaining where he was coming from. He didn't tell me what Tyrone did, but he did actually, there was a point where he asked me, he just wanted to know at what point did I talk to Tyrone, because he'll hold off on the video based on my answer.
Wow.
I gave him my honest answer. I talked to Tyrone right around the time of, right when I was about to see Jenna Marbles, because it was about a year ago. It was a Jenna Marbles. I remember seeing that video.
Yeah.
Okay, so so there you go. So, we talked more and more, and grade A, at some point, he was just like, I'd be more than happy to talk with you more, but this video is definitely going up. I emailed Tyrone, let him know that I tried to talk to him, and I tried to, particularly with grade A, because he's the only one that really, at least will listen to me occasionally. Keemstar doesn't. I ate everything. Everybody, Boogie, I've emailed all of these cats, and grade A is actually the only one that has enough respect to speak with me on an adult level. I tried to also explain to grade, dude, Tyrone is still, you don't need to take your anger out on him. Tyrone is still one of the good ones, and he does the best that he can in terms of the stuff that he reacts to. He asks me for advice sometimes about copyright stuff, and I tried to explain that, but regardless, the video dropped, and I couldn't really take sides on that one because I understand where both of them are coming from in that particular video. It could have just been a dumb mistake, or it just happened to be one of those dumb coincidences. But like I said, I do try to contact people, and we hash that out privately. Same deal with Rashad. Even after the roast of Rashad, and I saw Rashad's response and such, I was like, damn, this motherfucker is angry. I talked to him privately. The stuff that people always complain about, people wanting to do, why don't you guys just, no drama, stop doing drama, why don't you guys handle it privately? Unavoidable.
Sometimes that's really unavoidable, and that's actually something that I want to talk to you about, and here on the radio show live, ask you for some advice.
Okay.
Because
hold on, that's just the main point I want to say real quick is the fact that a lot of people out there are always saying, you don't need to make a drama video. Why don't you just talk about this privately? Why you could have just talked to them privately? But I think that's the main point. Some people are missing sometimes is the fact that I do actually I do take that sort of situation. I do take those steps most of the time to privately talk to somebody if they got a problem with me and try to handle it out. I tried contacting Blasphemous. I tried contacting Jinx. We're talking years and years back. Same thing. I talked to Rashad
Wait, you actually tried to contact Jinx? You actually tried to talk to him?
2 times. Yeah, I actually, way back when. And way back when all the controversy was going on, I was like, dude, like, well, come on in. Like, why don't you just come on my channel, or you can come on a mutual. Who was the mutual channel at the time? I don't remember. Somebody I think that's non-existent now could have been a mutual channel. I'm like, just come on in. I'll ask you a few questions about the sub bots and all that other stuff, and then it'll be squashed after that. Once people see that you're willing to, because I got inspired by watching Gone Girl. You know that movie with was it Gone Girl or Girl Gone?
Gone Girl with Ben Affleck.
Gone Girl. And that movie was
was off the chain.
So you remember when Ben Affleck was he went on a show that nobody actually liked him on. Like he was already guilty in people's eyes. So I got inspired by that. I'm like, oh shit, why don't we just put Jinx on a show that if he's willing to come up here.
In a way, you were actually trying to help him through that controversy.
I've always been.
Wow. Okay.
That is so crazy.
Old school subs will see. They'll know. They'll see. They'll look at it. They'll remember the patterns. They'll remember the history. I got asked a simple question about what I thought about this sudden rise, and I responded, which the video's still up. I didn't videos on this situation, and I'm not trying to paint myself out to be like some sort of saint, no, because I'm only human. I can only take it to some point where I get all these crazy ass tweens sending me death threats and hate comments to the point where it does change my attitude and perception about somebody. But I'm making it clear that I did reach out twice to try to contact him and like put this to an end. There was no answer, so I was like, okay, well, people are going to keep on bothering me about this. Let me see if YouTube has something to say about it. And at first, I just recorded it just to see, but there was so much in that call that I'm like, you know what? Maybe the rest of the people need to hear this answer, basically.
Oh, I actually remember that video.
Yeah.
So that's how that video with you calling YouTube came about, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that was the main thing was I was getting tired of people asking me, what did I think, or when is this going to end? I'm like, all right, I need to bring some sort of like conclusion to the community, because at that time we still had a pretty strong community, everybody working together, and then Jinx kind of came around. But I wanted to get some sort of clear closure or a clear point of when we could drop it. And for me, after talking with YouTube, it was the 100,000, the plaque basically, because that's when they verify everything. That's when they check, and at that point, it's fine. So like that was the main point. And for those that can't really see that, it is what it is at that point. Some people look at it as like snitching, but if you really look at it, and that's the thing about these long videos, people only see the title, and they make their judgment call on it. But if you actually look through that video, there's no point where I'm like trying to slander somebody in that video. So, and if you actually, no, there's no point. And if you actually look in that video, Jinx comments on how to prove himself, and I comment back like, okay, well, here's what you probably should do. Stop making videos where you kind of incriminate yourself more. And I gave him some advice, and I just told him good luck on this. Like, so, but that's the main point I'm saying is the fact that, you know, the times that I actually successfully reach out to people, nobody will ever see it, and people will still, like, for example, the roast of Rashad with Rashad's response, you know, it looks like I was just kind of sitting there and taking it, but behind the scenes, I actually talked to the cat, and I realized, okay, well, we're not going to get any further in this discussion. And, you know, but people don't see that, but that's what they ask for. They ask for things to be handled privately, but because it's privately, you never actually see the effort that I put in to sort of close some of this stuff. And then that's why some of that stuff sort of seeds into my brain later, and it stays inside of me, and it starts to seep out in like anger sometimes, you know, and like the same thing, I can already feel the same thing going on with I'm Dante and such. Is like, you know, I'm
oh damn,
that was a good
connection.
part.
Connection again.
Yeah, connection.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Oh yeah, there you are. Okay, go ahead.
What part?
You mentioned Dante again.
Okay.
You were gonna say.
And so that's one of those things about the anger and such where, you know, I'm trying to put a close to this sort of situation and move on from the roast, the rant. And, you know, I accept some of my weaknesses and some of my failures as a human. And when I get on camera, understanding that I have a lot of resentment or grudge that starts to build up, and it comes out a certain way when I start venting and such. But, you know, at the same time, it does really sort of frustrate me. It's like some of those things that are handled privately, people never see it in the public, and then I end up getting slandered in the public. What? Because of sub number, because people that were already jealous were jealous even further on, are people that just didn't like me from the beginning now have more ammunition to paint it with. So people rarely get noticed for doing something good, but they always get noticed when they do something bad.
I agree with that 150%.
And this is one of the reasons why Reactor Radio was created. So the fans and everybody could see a clear image of where we're coming from and what happens behind the scenes sometimes that they may not even know all the time. And
exactly.
And Akasan, real quick, you know, just to, you know, backpedal a little bit regarding about what I was going to say is, first off, I respect the fact that you do try to, you know, resolve conflict and beefs in private. You know, that's something that you and I have in common. However, what I wanted, I'm not going to say what reactors are involved, but it's some of the people that you've already touched base on. There's a lot of reactors who are bigger channels than me, and sometimes they throw shade towards my way, and they do it publicly, and I'm not able to really, you know, get in contact with them privately. Maybe it's a combination of they don't want to, you know, go there or not. But I guess what I'm really trying to ask you is, the advice I'm trying to ask is, how do I deal with conflict that is unintentional in the future as I continue to progress? How do I deal with that? That's unwanted conflict.
Well,
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, see, and that's my sort of that's where I go back and forth on the situation about name dropping and all that. It's like I thought I read the fucking dumbest comment yesterday or the day before, where some kid was on my just ranting. He was like, "I'm only here because of Blasphemous' channel and blah blah blah." And it was just this giant run-on sentence that turned into a paragraph. But one of the things that they pointed out was like, "You're just name dropping Blasphemous because you want to start drama." I'm like, but that was the whole point. I didn't mention a name, you fuck. Anyway, but if it wasn't for that rant roast, nobody would ever know. Nobody would care. You know, for me, it's just a deal of like venting, and actually out of respect for not starting drama. You know, for my weekly Wednesday what's-ups, I gotta be 100% raw, uncut, and true to my feelings and to my fans. And sometimes you need to say things that are just on your mind. That's the venting situation. This isn't a goddamn utopia. People aren't going to be cool with other people, especially if they're in part of what's changed the entire game and giving it a bit of a different connotation of what reaction videos used to stand for. There is going to be sometimes a moment in time where I need to like vent off about something. But regardless, you know, so that's my thing about like not name dropping. It's like, it's not really for the benefit of starting beef. I'm not there to start beef. It's just me talking directly to my fans about certain issues that are going on. And, but now if somebody is name dropping you, if someone is not name dropping you, but you think they're talking about it, that's a whole.
Well, no. They did do it publicly on a live stream, and they did mention I mean, I've never mentioned theirs. Like I said, they're a bigger channel, and I kind of feel like I can't compete with that, even if I wanted to. You know what I mean? Because of the fans.
Okay, so here's what I would say. Here's what I would say. And this is the way I look at it, just like anything else, is like, depending on like, I never, like, as I've said before and through, I never look at it as this person has a huge channel, this person has a, you know, because I know people with millions of subscribers. I know people with 4 million subscribers. I met people like Jenna Marbles, and I worked with her, and I talked to her, and I just talked to her on the real. Like, I don't talk, like, to me, I guess what I'm trying to say is like when I go to these YouTube parties, there's people I walk by with like 3 million subscribers, and everybody is like sucking off their cunt sometimes, and like everybody's just all over them. But I'm like, I'm just like excuse me, can I get my drink? I'm just like, whatever. Like, people are like so envious of them, but I'm just like, hey, what's up? They're goddamn human. Okay, they have more eyes on their channel. It's not a big damn deal. It's not. These aren't like Hollywood stars. They're not making millions and millions of dollars. You know, but the point I'm saying here is I just treat it, I've always treated it as, who is this, you know, who is this person? What are they saying? Is it true? You know, is there something is it something that I need to look at and do? Is there something I need to improve upon myself? Or is this just legit hate? Like a good example would be something like when Dante's first, I'm Dante's first roast came out. You know, I always looked at it afterwards and I'm like, okay, damn, that was pretty funny. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I do need to look into certain things of fixing stuff up. But then when it started getting further and further into just hating, and it's kind of like, all right, well, I think we need to talk about this and respond back to it. And so for me, my advice to you is it doesn't really matter what amount of subs somebody has, because if anything, people are going to come at you and they're going to come looking at your channel for some form of response, and the best thing you can do is respond back in a very mature and intelligent way, so to speak. You know, you don't have to. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to. Go ahead.
This was a long time ago. I mean, it's not happening anymore, but I'm just trying to get some advice for the future when it happens again. That's the thing, because I just ignored it. That's the thing. I just ignored it and just continued working on my channel.
It's better that way. Sometimes it's better that way to just ignore it. I mean, for years and years, I was always getting hate, and Jinx fans would always come over and try to mess with the channel. But it was kind of just like, sometimes I would talk to them about it, and sometimes I'd be like, okay, this person is like beyond talking to. A good amount of the time, I would get hate from grade A under A fans, and I'm like, you dumb fuck. I was agreeing with grade A on a good thing. I'm like, how retarded is this? I had this long argument with somebody about that. Best thing I can say is try not to take it as offense, but then sometimes it sometimes works in your best interest to write it out sometimes. Like, for example, when that South Park, when they made that stab at the ginger, Gingers Don't Have Souls. That kid on YouTube took that stuff in stride, and he was just like, he made a response video to that, and he got more popular off of that. So, you know, it just kind of, you got to fill it out. Is it something worth investing your time in? Do you feel that you need to prove yourself on one person's comment? You know, you have to decide ultimately what's best for your channel. For me, nowadays, I realize that my audience is completely different. So the majority of my audience doesn't care about what's going on in this new age Reactor world audience.
Reactorverse.
Yeah. They're more interested in like, hey, can you just continue doing what you do and giving your opinion on these movies and TV shows coming up? Like, I don't even watch any of these other channels.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, our personal fans are what we really do this for anyway. So I can understand where you're coming from.
Absolutely. So if my personal fans, like earlier, if my personal fans feel the need that I need to respond, or because a lot of them were just like, dude, don't even give the tweens the satisfaction of responding. But I was like, nah, this one's a little too big that we'll have to, we need to take care of this. But I appreciate it where the real fans really showed up, and they were just like, nah, man, look, he apologized, he was moving on. It was shady for I'm Dante to even get involved in something like this, but they were just like, we're done, we're here.
Yeah, and you know what's really funny is that a lot of the channels who accuse, because I see the comments, I see the videos, I see the Twitter posts. I find it funny that a lot of people who accuse you of throwing shade are also doing that themselves.
I agree with that too. I agree with that.
You know what I mean? And
it was already an hour video, and I don't make any videos on the weekend because that's usually relationship time, and my voice is already torn up, and I was totally going to make that point out and actually put screenshots out there of the shade that's being thrown all the time. But I know what you're saying, and hypocritical has been a big word being thrown around in the last week. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Any touching points that you want to make, Ant? Because I know I don't want to make you feel excluded or anything, dog.
No, not at all. You pretty much was asking a lot of stuff that I was wondering about. Like, you hit the nail right on the head. So I'm glad that we actually touched on a lot of stuff, because I was agreeing with what Akasan had to say.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess the other thing we can point out is that the number of subs, I think the thing some people have to realize is sometimes the number of subs doesn't also equal the amount of maturity as well. And then sometimes it's not even a matter.
Amen. Thank you.
Well,
I think it's doing that dropout thing again.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's back.
All right.
Oh, there he goes.
All right. Did you get it at thank you, or where did it drop? Like.
No. The last thing I heard you say was the sub count doesn't equal maturity, okay. And I was like, thank you, because amen to that.
So we need it again.
No, you're good.
Okay, so thank you. Okay. And that was one of the things that I was mentioning way before, a year ago, with the whole thing. When you get up in a number of subs, maybe we can collab or so. Because at that time, I used to think that once people kind of get over their hype, or sort of get over themselves, they kind of ease out a bit, and they can start to sensibly think a little bit more. But I realized that that's not really the case, how that works.
Not all the time.
Yeah. I used to think that, because that was what it was like for me, and I felt that was what it was like for another YouTuber friend of mine, a former friend or whatever. But I guess what I'm also trying to say here is that it's not the amount of subs doesn't equal the amount of maturity, but at the same time, you also have to realize that this is kind of the livelihood for a lot of people. And unfortunately, drama, beef is what fuels the channel. Will fuel a channel and will get people interested in the channel, and that's what sometimes the audience sort of looks for.
And you know, that's really unfortunate that that beef is really necessary, man, because YouTube should be about you having fun. Yeah, it should be about you expressing yourself and having fun on YouTube, and not having to worry about, you know, who you might be beefing with and who you might, you know, want to diss out in a video and stuff like that. It's really sad that a lot of the fans, they chase that negativity sometimes, man.
Yeah.
It's really a shame.
It is, but that's kind of been, I guess, in the way it's been. Like, even before I was doing reactions and such, I was a J vlogger, and we've had this issue a long time ago with people calling out other people. And it was so funny because the comments were like, "Oh hell yeah, it's about time things got a little wild in here." But then the reality was, it was people that live in Japan talking about their life in Japan, and they have beef with other people making videos like that. I was like, dude, you sit in Japan and you make videos about Japan. Like, can you really have beef? Like, it's like a cooking show, like Martha Stewart or someone has a beef with what was that one
Chef
chick?
Ramsay or something.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, come on, man. Like, oh god.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, if I really wanted all this beef and all this drama, I'd just go back to high school.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I agree there too. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah. So listen. Before we get into the closing of the show, there is something that I really want you to really clarify for the fans.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure I already know the answer to this. I'm sure a lot of other reactors already know the answer to this, but just to clarify to the fans, do you have any issue with Jinx now?
No, I haven't had any issue with. I haven't had any issues with Jinx. Maybe since, I would say, a little bit before he quit doing reactions, or I don't know. It's just been a non-existent thing. I think mainly it's just been a point, basically, when he stopped becoming an issue and a reason for concern of why, you know, reaction channels might die off or whatever like that, then he stopped becoming an issue for me, basically. Like, you know, I would have to check in and make sure every once in a while, like, okay, did he do something again that's all of us are gonna pay for? No, okay, he's playing it cool, good for him. You know, I really actually respected the fact that he was doing what was in his heart, and he what was it, the goodbye reactions, hello happiness video, like I thought that was fine, and I had a lot of respect for him from moving away from something like that and just focusing on whatever else he was doing. But no, it's really like none of these. I don't really have time to hate or pay attention. Like most of my subs,
understandably.
You know, yeah, most of my subs know that I don't watch other reaction channels. I don't watch other reaction videos. I'll pop in every once in a while, and you know, of course, I see what's up with Tyrone. I'll see what's up with Greg. Occasionally, I'll check out something that the Sup Though Bros are doing. If it matches what I'm like, the Star Wars trailer or something like that. But if it's relatable, then I check it out. Swag Foundation with his Flash reactions, and he's been moving on to some other stuff that I've been enjoying as well. But overall, I really don't have the time that, like, it's like an artist or like a musician doesn't really have time to really check in on what other TV shows are going on. You know?
Especially when there's so many, and it's like I said before, man. I don't keep up with all reaction channels, nor would I even try to, because there's thousands upon thousands.
Yeah. Well, and to clarify, I think that was one of the worst side effects. I think if Grade A Under A had rethought this a bit, if he had known that the video that he made, or both videos he made, was actually going to have a negative effect by putting a formula out there, I'm like, okay, this is how reaction videos are getting popular, or these newer reaction videos are getting popular. He might have rethought this thing, because it actually exploded more, because people were, Shay mentioned this a bit. People just got the pen and the pad ready, and they're like, oh, yeah. They're like,
I agree with that so much.
Yeah, this is how you get up on the reaction channels and start getting more videos.
When Shay uploaded that video, I swear I was dying. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah.
And just to touch up a bit about what you're saying, as far as what Grade A said and what all, like, I Hate Everything and all these other YouTube communities that see reactors in a certain way. I guess what I'm really trying to ask you is don't you think that they are taking the bad side of certain reactors and just basically categorizing all of us into that same box?
Well, but that's I agree with you. They are, but that's kind of what they want. That, like, every media outlet, every news outlet is always going to do that. They're going to take the most popular ones, and they're going to take the bad points from the most popular ones, like that. And unfortunately, like, that's why I make that. That's why I always make that Muslim Islamic terrorist analogy, because that's the popular thing right now, is that people always want to paint a broad stroke on Muslims, saying all Muslims are bad, when it's only a good amount of them that are extremists like that. So,
and I can actually be a firsthand witness to that, because I mean, I'm not with her anymore, but my ex-fiance's family were all Muslims, and they were all beautiful people, man.
Yeah.
They were all good, humble, hardworking individuals, very loving too. So, I see where you're coming from, is what I guess.
But it doesn't matter, because to the rest of the world, when they turn on their TVs, they're seeing people blowing up trucks all the time.
Exactly.
And so basically. Yeah, so basically, long story short, what you're saying is a lot of these other YouTube communities are using that same formula to paint an image of what reactors are supposed to be, supposedly.
Basically, and to be fair, at this point now, a year later, after some of those videos and such, a great the entire audience has changed, because that's the thing. A lot of young kids don't care if it's illegal, or don't care about the getting permissions and such. They just want to see the videos. So
yes, oh my God, that is so true.
So the game has changed so much from when it used to just be about fans giving their opinions. The original format of the reaction video was, and it's still sort of kind of there, but it's not the main thing anymore, was just going to see how someone reacted, to see kind of like the fangasm or the input like that. But it's changed so much to the point where it really has become a format of just sitting and watching TV with kind of a friend online, a digital friend online. And, while there might be lots of legalities about that, I think we, as just reactors in general, and just people as in general, fans in general, have to accept that sort of change and do what we can to protect our own channel, while accepting this kind of change within the genre.
And I guess that's what's going to be really difficult for channels like myself,
Yeah.
Who know that we are, you know, trying to bring realism, you know, not trying to be opportunist reactors like the way Shay coined, you know, not trying to, you know, always trying to bring a positive vibe, I guess, to the Reactorverse. But it's really hard to do that when you have opportunists and fake reactors and all types of.
Yeah, but you know, that's something that, like they say, the opportunity, if opportunity is knocking, you take it. And you know, for example, Flight reacts. Flight is a good example of, like, look, if he just came there normally and did his own thing, you know, nobody would even pay attention to him. But he found an opportunity to be, you know, overly exaggerated, and but that over exaggeration is very entertaining for people. That's what people want to see. So I feel at this point in time, we can't really dog that sort of idea, because part of it might be acting, part of it might be an extension. You know, we don't dog The Rock or Triple H or some of these guys in WWE, because that, you know, they're playing a personality on TV and it's entertaining. So I think sometimes we have to look at it the same way as, look, yes, it's cool to be honest, it's cool to be realistic, if that's what you want to be in terms of a fan. And I still think that holds true for things like Star Wars TV, because the audience that tunes in doesn't want to see an actor. They just want to see somebody's honest reaction to something. But when it comes to maybe twerking videos, dank memes, all this other sort of stuff, maybe it's okay to allow, you know, that's maybe the audience, that kind of audience for those type of reaction videos, want to see something a little more over the top, like that.
Yeah.
Does it make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can see that point of view.
A really big YouTuber friend of mine in private once said, he asked me, like, because he wasn't so familiar with reaction videos, but he saw a bunch of the top ones, and he was like, is it wrong that I kind of watch these videos because I really want to see the stereotypical black man, like, acting kind of a fool? And I didn't really know how to like respond to that, because part of me was like, God damn, this is like one of my idols. Like, this is one of the people that I was achieving to be on YouTube, saying something like this. But then at the other side, I'm like, okay, he's being honest with me, and you know, this isn't the first time somebody said that. Like, I kind of, like, I've seen comments where people are like, oh, I have a confession to make. I just only watch the black reactors because of their their stereotypical sort of attitudes like that. So yeah, I was like, no, it's not wrong. But you know, I just kind of took note that, okay, there you go. That's one of the reasons people watch. So it makes sense.
It does. That's very interesting. Yeah. Okay. Before we get into the last segment, I do have a question.
All right.
And this
and
question.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem. This question, Demon and I have asked each other before, but I'm curious to know, with the Reactorverse as a whole, honestly, like, where do you see it going? Like, if it stays the way that it is now, where do you see it going?
Well, I think it's fair enough to just assume that the Reactorverse, or the community as it is not as evident as it used to be. It's not as strong as it used to be. It was fun. It was a fun time. I think we had a good run for a long time. But something like, I think, you know, I appreciate what you guys are doing with Reactor Radio. I like what you guys are doing with the Reactor League, Reactors League, and all that. But I think it's fair enough to say that, again, the game is changing. The game has changed. The audience has changed, and the new people that are coming to your channel, expecting a reaction channel, their look and their what they're assuming is very different than what it used to be like. So they are expecting something more like Blasphemous, or they are expecting something more like Flight, or something else like that. So it's less about, again, it's less about being a fan of something and putting input into the end of your video and just making sure you're just entertaining. That's what I feel these newer audience are coming into reaction videos for. So I think it's fine to maybe have this smaller community still, and maybe it can be strengthened over time, as because, you know, fads, I think fads come and go, but fandom will always last.
That's
and
so true.
And if not in a reaction video, in some sort of review video, if not that, some sort of blog post, fandom has a way of still staying evident in different mediums. When I wasn't doing reaction videos, I was on a community on Facebook. And when I wasn't doing that, I was talking to my friends back in Los Angeles. So I think the medium will just continue to change in different forms or fashions. And I think if you're just doing it as a fan, then you'll find different avenues that way to express yourself.
That is so very true.
Wow.
You know.
So do you think, you know, with the landscape changing overall, does that kind of like tie in to when you said that, I remember a while back somebody asked you, do you think reaction channels will still exist in the future? And you, I think this was on a live stream, you responded saying something like, yes, but not in the same way that
Correct.
Right. So does
Damn, I
what
was
you're
smart back then. No. I was already foreseeing the future. And, you know, some people have called me a future. Like, some people have compared me to, or said I'm like the Tony Stark, basically, because like there were others out there, and then I make the decisions that some people, the unpopular decisions sometimes about being more controlled and what have you not. And I was thinking about changing my, like, since you know, I don't want to represent reaction videos as much anymore with the Prince of Reactors thing, so I was thinking about changing my name to Prince Stark. So half Tony Stark, half Ned Stark, with the whole honor thing. So but I'm getting off track here. Thank you for your warm enthusiasm of that suggestion, by the way. What I was going to say is, yeah, I still hold true to that, is that I'm going to, it's just a matter of things are changing, and we don't exactly know how evident that change will be. I don't know if YouTube will make more regulations. You know, I always felt that if every reaction video was claimed, or the majority of most reaction videos got claimed and was sent to somewhere else, a lot of these newer cats would stop doing the videos, because they'd be like, oh snap, I can't make any more money off of other people's work. Okay, let me stop doing it. And then, you know, those that really still have like an actual fan feeling for it and actually have a passion for doing the videos will still stick through and find ways to grind on their videos, you know, less output.
Yeah, and you know, and maybe they might even, the ones who really have a passion for it, like me, for example, will probably find other, because, you know, like, there's other things to do on YouTube, not just reactions. Like, you could do food reviews, all types of other things, you know what I mean? And you could have fun doing it too.
Sure.
Well, you know, and when I came back from America, about a month ago, the one thing that was kind of evident to me when I was collaborating with all these reactors is none of us actually really wanted to do reactions when we were together. Like, when I met with Greg, he was like, oh man, I don't really feel like doing a reaction at all. And the same thing with Tyrone. Like, he just wanted to instead just talk to me, and we did that video. So I realized that there comes a point where there's another way we can show and express ourselves, our fandom. And like, even before this roast rant or video came out, I was kind of on the edge of like, should I just quit YouTube? Like, I don't really feel like, look, we got the goal. I set out what I wanted to do. We got 100,000 subscribers. I'm not in some sort of, this isn't a game. This isn't some sort of thing about getting 1 million like that. I'm not trying to get like 1 million subscribers or whatever. I'm not trying to compete with anybody. I'm just trying to do what's comfortable for me on my channel. But you know, after talking with some of my fans, I just realized that I still have a lot of my old school fans that don't even watch most of my reaction videos. Even Dante said it himself that he doesn't watch my reaction videos. It's the other stuff that he watches. So, you know, I realized that that's something I need to get more in tune to, is like, my channel is a reflection of myself, and I need to reflect it a little bit better. Reactions is just one side of showing my fandom. I need to make sure I'm putting out that other stuff that I'm doing. I have a really nice life here in Japan, and I need to do a better job of sharing that with the rest of my audience.
Yeah.
So I encourage other people to do the same, honestly.
You know, honestly, I was actually thinking about doing that, man, because I've noticed that my channel has not been really expressing correctly my personal beliefs too, and I feel like my fans, or a lot of my fans, don't even know me personally like that, and I kind of, and you know, when I'm still working on the Reactors mixtape, and when that drops, there's gonna be that side to it where I'm expressing myself a lot more in a way that my fans never thought. You get me? Like, they never saw that side of me, and so I see where you're coming from, Akasan. That, you know, a lot of, you know, YouTube's whole brand of expressing yourself should be exactly that. You should be.
I 100% agree with you. You know, I grew up in the radio business. Most people don't really know this, but I grew up.
I've been wanting to ask you about that. Your email. Yeah, your email address.
That was actually, so that was the show that I used to run back in the day. Before I was doing YouTube, I was doing podcasting, and before that, I grew up with big time radio stars, and they're the ones that taught me how to manipulate my voice a little bit more, or kind of work with all the power coming out of my vocals, how to speak a little more interesting, a little more better, a little more entertaining, making sure I could control that factor of mine. And so I've always kind of grew up with this radio mentality, and I just always wanted to bring that radio mentality to YouTube. So for me, I'm finally in a position now that I have one room in my home that's like dedicated to the channel, setting up a studio. Like, and you'll see it in the next couple of days. I filmed a few things. Is I still want to be able to, I just always want to be able to bring that radio opinionated, talk radio opinionated sort of content to my videos. It might be 10 minutes long, it might be 15 minutes long, but the main point is I want to make sure people are being entertained. My type of audience is being entertained, and they always get to hear my voice and my opinion, truthfully.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Wow, that's crazy. So, Intermixy Radio. What type of radio show was that? Like, how did that come about, and how did you get involved, and, you know, what was the main focus of that?
The main focus for that one was very similar to my YouTube channel. Was I just wanted to express the kind of music that I like to play, and I used to DJ a long time ago. I still have my turntables and such, but I always liked the talk radio segment, and I always liked the music segment. So I used to play a lot of music that I really enjoyed, and then every once in a while I do a little bit of interviews, or I would do a little bit of talking. I talk about my life, and we would go to another segment after that and play some music. So it was just a mix of some fun stuff, and I really enjoyed it, and it really helped prepare me into what was about to become YouTube, I suppose. So if I ever get a chance on it, I've had offers before, but I've really at some point in time I would really like to get back into sort of like the radio podcasting format again.
You definitely should.
That would be, you definitely should. That would be a really dope type of content to see on your channel, man. I would definitely love to see that.
I'll see what I can do. It's something Chainsaw has been doing a lot, and I was really thinking to myself, damn, maybe I should do the same thing. I don't know, but I don't know. It's something I'm thinking about. I've been experimenting with Weekly Wednesday What's Up every once in a while. You know, it's possible.
All right, awesome. So, Anthony, anything else that you want to add in before we get to the final segment?
I think I'm okay. We touched on a lot.
Yeah,
so.
I think we pretty much touched up on everything. All right, Akasan. So here's the deal, man. There's this question that we ask all reactors at the end of the show, or any guests that come on the show. We ask them this. It's a segment called Making a Remake. Basically, you would choose a movie, any movie in history that you would like to remake, and tell us what actors present day you would cast to remake that movie.
Damn. Okay. Just off the top of my head, probably Spawn. I would like them to remake Spawn.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I feel like Spawn came out at a time they weren't ready. They weren't ready for Spawn at the time when it came out.
They weren't. The graphic design and all that was just not up to par to what Spawn was meant to be.
Yeah, it could have been Spawn, but I'd love to see Spawn remade. But even the comic itself, I dropped it a long time ago. But if I were to recast somebody, I don't really know Hollywood people so much, but I'll just take a shot in the dark. Emma Stone as Angelica. The clown. It would be Peter Dinklage. I'm just shooting shit out of my head. And Al Simmons, Tyrone Magnus. There you go.
Hey.
Okay.
You know what? I could actually see Tyrone Magnus pull off that role. I really can.
Yeah, I gotta look out for my brothers there. And of course they gotta throw me in there somewhere. I will play a homeless man, no problem.
All right, Akasan. Well, listen, it was a complete privilege and honor to have you on the show, man.
Yeah.
Same to you guys. I had a good time, guys. Yeah.
Awesome sauce. Awesome.
That really means a lot.
Yeah.
If you guys,
just I guess closing statement for me is and for your audience as well. I know sometimes a lot of people out there don't like me, but even more people at least respect me, and a few people love me out there. But and I know from time to time I pop off and I say things. I get in my Christian Bale mode and I just start saying shit in terms of venting. But if there's one thing that I always want to promise people is that I'm always going to be 100% honest, and people may not like the things that I say, and they may not like my opinion about things, but I just always want to keep coming across as transparent as possible, and I really try to do my best to be respectful at the same time, if that makes sense. So
makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah. And the truth is, just to add on, the truth is, no matter, I've learned this the hard way through YouTube, no matter how respectful you're going to be towards certain people, no matter what, at the end of the day, some people are just immature and they're just going to hate you regardless. So
hate her or love it. Yeah.
Hate it or love it, exactly. All right. Well, listen to the whole audience who listens into Reactor Radio every week. If you guys have not, I mean, if you guys don't know who Akasan is, then I think you're living under a rock, to be honest, in the Reactor world. But okay, no, but you should go check out Akasan. He produces great content. I watch his vlogs on a regular basis. Yeah, your vlogs are awesome, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, you should definitely go subscribe to Akasan. He's definitely the Prince of Reactors. He's a part of the Big Four.
Retiring that name, but okay, go ahead. Retiring the Prince of Reactors, because as I said, the world of reaction videos has changed enough, and I can't properly represent that side of reaction videos now. So
right. Well, yeah. regardless,
Yes.
No matter what Akasan chooses to do, I know he'll produce more awesome content as he continues to go along. If you guys have not checked out Anthony Knight's channel, make sure you check him out. He's a great YouTuber and reactor as well. He produces a lot of film skits and all types of other things. And make sure you check out your boy DemonkillerScorp. You know, if you like my content, then yeah, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you don't, understandable. But no matter what, make sure you hit that subscribe button on Reactor Radio. We are here to unite the whole community, man. So let's get that in.
One way up.
One way up, no way out. That's right.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
No problem.
Anytime, man.
Peace.
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 I love you.